everyone. You're obviously confused and aroused.
Then where are we now? Do you have idiots on your planet?
It's me, Zoidberg, remember from high school?
Hello, you're listening to the Slurmcast, a podcast for no reason. Today we will be discussing Futurama Season 2, Episode 8, Raging Bender, with your hosts, Tommy Roulette,
How's it going?
Pete Woodward,
That's me.
and I'm Rick Horchie. Joining us today is our special guest, Greggy Caskets of the band Thundercougarfalconhawk. How's it going, Greg?
Doing well, man. How are you doing?
We now have
No,
a-
Greg.
Well, no, I'm sick. I'm going to be sniffling and hacking away this whole episode. Go ahead, Tom, write it down.
We
But
now
other
have
than that-
we have 100% Thundercougarfalconhawk saturation on this podcast.
You do. That's true.
That's pretty
Yes.
great.
We were just talking to Sebastian earlier before we came here, and he was very jealous that Greg got to come here because he wants to come more often.
Well, whose fault is
Well,
that?
No,
you
no,
guys are
it's-
still
it's
tied.
probably-
Now it'll be one
Yeah.
for 1 and 1.
To be honest,
you know.
I mean, he's booked. He's going to be coming up soon in this season, and then I just booked him for the third season episode, his favorite episode ever. So
I will apologize just right off the bat. He is the talker in the band.
Oh, yeah.
Like he is. He does all those things. He's the lead singer. He's the lead guy.
He's the lead drummer.
Yes. He
But
is
you
the
play
lead
like
drummer.
bass and guitar at the same time, so that counts for something.
I try.
In
I
my
try.
estimation, you do a good job. If nothing else, your on-stage guitar rig is fucking ridiculous.
Stop flirting with me.
And I just so that's what impresses me. Like you
yeah,
bring-
I'm getting jealous.
You
over
got
here.
an Ampeg 810 and an orange Tiny Terror just for no reason.
Yeah.
And it sounds great. It's fun.
Well, thank you.
But on to the matter at hand. No cold open again, Tom. I think there might have been something to that when you said that the cold open stopped in the
there's
second
still
season.
going to be more because we haven't gotten to a couple of them that I remember, like the teeth one.
Well, I'll say something about it when we get there.
This topic is not getting old at all. Go ahead.
No, it's
Continue.
not. I think talking about the lack of a cold open is a trope on our podcast, if you will. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm gonna tie all that shit together.
It's all gonna come together.
With the bonkers public domain cartoon, it looked like cats were being hung, like
They were
noosed
being
and-
dropped to something. It's called Hollywood Capers.
Greg, did you notice
That's
the
all I
cartoon
know.
at the beginning, the little old timey cartoon?
Which one?
You know, at the beginning before the ship crashes into the thing, and there's the little old timey
Like the
cartoon on screen
Jumbotron.
or whatever.
Yeah, I did notice that. I thought they made that, but that was actually like a thing from.
Oh yeah, every one of them
past.
is like an old 40s cartoon or whatever.
Unless it's The Simpsons, sometimes they
oh yeah, well for the
they
most
throw
part, yeah, it's usually
curveballs.
like an old timey cartoon.
And it usually makes no sense, like devoid of context. It just looks
It's
like a
almost
psychedelic
not
freak
even
out.
worth mentioning, but somehow we mention it every
because
podcast.
because
say, like-
every time.
Because it's interesting. It's that just short clip.
Interesting or the other thing?
Like
Tedious.
everybody in the 40s was supposedly so uptight, and then whoever was drawing these cartoons was clearly dipping into the LSD or something. Like it's just nuts.
I agree 100% with you completely. Like I would watch old cartoons or like see something and like, how did you think of this?
Oh yeah,
Like,
there's stuff they're
you-
not doing. 'Cause that was like
You have to
you
be
know
fucked up.
Yeah, there was like real.
It's probably just like PTSD from World War II.
Something
and
like that.
jazz
Like, my
cigarettes or
lord,
something.
like
Yeah.
you have to be on something.
Yeah.
Like you like I was talking earlier today, like the whole Looney Tunes like Kill the Wabbit.
Yeah.
Like when they did that with like classical music, like who sat there and was just like sitting listening to like classical music and it was just like kill the wabbit, kill
Yeah.
the wabbit. Like who thought of that? And then someone said, "Yes, that's good. Let's go with
and I
this."
feel like that happened in that era, and then it all went away, and that kind of humor and like creativity and like just craziness is like starting to come back.
So
in
we
animation,
need
you know?
more drugs.
Here's
Yeah, yeah.
here's a hilarious thing. Who would think of being like, you know what? Let's make the professor program the toaster to love. Teach the toaster
Oh, yeah,
to
that's great.
love.
Yeah.
Well,
That's just as
Or
ridiculous,
the mop
right?
bucket to
But
love
hang
scruffy.
on. that actually just made me think of something. So there's 2 points that each of you made. One, do you think that they did something like repurposing opera music back when they were making the Looney Tunes because that was public domain
Right.
at the time.
Absolutely.
Oh, totally.
So
man.
they weren't
were
like, we got to
can
use that new
this."
Frank
Yeah.
Sinatra song. We're just going to
Yeah,
get
we're gonna
this
use-
old
it'll be this
Marriage of
beautiful thing.
Figaro.
Plus, like, there was so much more like orchestral music, like that was, you heard more that was used in television and stuff back then.
I
and
also know
entertainment.
mostly about classical music from like Looney Tunes.
Oh, same here, yeah.
And when I hear certain like movements or anything like that, I picture like
Yep.
that cartoon of like a
Oh, the
factory
wagon
working or
killed
yeah.
the way. You're like, oh,
You ever see that 30 Rock where Liz
yeah.
Lemon had
Well, so and the other thing is where you said, oh, like it was so creative and that all went away. It's like, but there was, it was creative, but there was also nothing else to compare it to. So what you
Oh, yeah.
couldn't, it couldn't be derivative of itself. So you kind of had like a blue ocean.
the point is,
To go and mess
everyone
up.
was on drugs at that time.
They were.
and like weird old timey drugs.
Wait till
too,
one
like,
day they do.
Quaaludes or something.
Yeah.
I don't even
opium
know.
or
We
something.
were on laudanum.
It's
That's
like-
what's behind the
But
old
it's
Looney
that thing
Tunes.
where when you think of like somebody like Salvador Dali or something, you're like, oh, nobody was on that crazy like drugged out tip back then or whatever, and like, oh
They
yeah,
probably
there
all
were.
were.
Like yeah, like it's, yeah.
Well,
and now and then things got
Kennedy
more
was like
regulated, you
amped
couldn't
up
do
on
it.
amphetamines and stuff. I mean, everybody was. You'd get it from your doctor.
Hitler was on
That's
speed.
true. Yeah.
Coca-Cola had Coke in it
You
for
could
the
drink.
longest time.
You could drink at the office even if you weren't a bartender, which really only the two of you can do.
Actually, technically, bartenders are not allowed to drink on the job. It's against the law in the state of Ohio.
Oh, I've never seen
I
that
mean,
happen.
yeah,
then
me
either.
neither.
I
That
don't
makes
know
sense.
I
How
don't
I've
know
never
what you-
seen that
no,
happen.
No, I don't know what you're talking about. That's crazy.
So is this the introduction of the brain slugs?
No, they were in the.
They were
Nixon.
they were in the Nixon episode at the brain slug party, but is this really more where they start building them out? Like, how frequently do we see them after this? Because Hermes goes on the vacation, probably the one that he was yelling at himself about in the previous episode.
That's what I thought of too.
So he comes back and he's got the slug,
Huh.
and now he's trying to like get everybody slugged up.
Did you notice that he was supposed to go to the Spleef planet?
No,
Yeah.
Oh really?
Yeah,
No,
he was talking about like, oh, Hermes returning, blah blah blah, from the his vacation from the Spleef planet.
Oh, and he didn't make it, and he wound up on the
because
brain slug.
he
planet?
had a layover on the brain slug
Okay,
planet,
so
but the Spleef planet.
Yeah,
'cause-
Spleef. Yeah. That's a nice little slip that in there. There's not a lot of drug references on Futurama, so it's
you
know.
you don't think so?
There's,
Not bad.
I feel like there's like 6 or 7 for
Throughout
There's that
the
whole
whole
episode
series,
of Bender
you know.
like going straight.
okay. That's true. And he was
And then
jacking
getting
on,
high
all
on
right, the whole
religion.
episode. All right.
Well, you're considering
true.
alcohol a drug.
No, I was
Well-
saying no, but that was
Drink.
the electricity. That was like a drug for him. That was they.
Yeah,
that
yeah, I
episode
remember what
they
you're
combined.
talking about.
Sometimes it was like alcohol, and sometimes it was like weed, and sometimes it was like heroin.
What
They
was
like
the
threw it all
term?
together.
What was the term they had for that?
Jacking on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
I just watched it. Jacking on, and what was there was like a second one. It says like
I don't remember.
No.
I
I
was
just remember jacking on.
I thought it was delightful that Zoidberg was so excited to go to the movies with his friends. Like I always feel so bad for him, as horrible and smelly and incompetent as he is. He's like, oh, I get to go to the movies with friends. I mean, it was like a highlight for him.
He was super happy.
Yeah.
He, but really, no one. I mean, he was just generally there. Like wasn't exactly invited.
Well, he was invited by association.
Yeah, I
think.
guess. How did he pay for it? I wonder how he paid for it.
Maybe the
poor.
professor treated everybody,
Oh, maybe.
or maybe they just snuck in. That seems like a caper Bender would try.
I have a question
Yes.
before we start the whole episode.
Well, we
Who-
did that a couple minutes ago, though.
Yeah, well, but damn it. Who knows what's
it's not
going
the meat
on
of the
now?
episode
Yeah.
though.
What, in your guys' opinion, who is your favorite Futurama or character? Like, who is the person that you feel like you relate to?
No.
Fry. I don't have to think about it. Fry.
Yeah, this has come up a couple times before.
No, our favorite character is
Or-
one thing.
yeah,
but, we
but I
relate
mean, who
most
we relate
to?
most to? That's a new
Hermes.
take on
Hermes
it.
for me, I think,
Yeah, I could see that.
Why?
because he's just very hard on himself, and
Okay.
he takes his job seriously.
Yeah, those are the first two things I
I
associate
hate
with
him.
you.
I hate him the most. And also, he was going to go to the Spleef planet, so
Yeah. And
for
then,
vacation.
you go to
so-
the Spleef Planet a few times a day, so yeah.
Leela.
I don't
it's
know.
Leela.
Yeah, you know, that's
You're the Leela of the bunch.
that's like complimentary. I'm really
Well, it is. That's why
yeah.
he said it.
No, I think that's probably accurate.
Yeah, you are Leela.
Because I'll be happy to tell people when they're doing something wrong. And
Yeah.
I usually have to come in and clean up behind them.
And you're
that's-
usually
captain.
cleaning up people's behinds.
I've got a pretty sweet rack too.
What about you, Greg?
Yeah.
Oh, honestly, I asked that question without even
You
thinking about
can't
it. I
ask
don't-
that question and
even-
not
yeah,
have
I
the
don't-
answer
No.
locked and loaded.
Nope, not at all.
You had time.
Um,
All three of us gave our. You know what? Let me ask you this: what if you extended past the main characters? Like, is there any secondary characters like Scruff and
Scruffy.
Kiff, Scruffy, I can see that. Katrina, Xanthor?
Scruffy seems to be like he's a very stable man. He does like one thing that he's just doing that. He's doing this,
And he's fucking honest.
and he he's
never
the
seen
most-
you around here neither.
most honest person ever. And he falls in love with the mop bucket, and yada yada yada, and just everything's fine. But he's like,
Do you frequently
the-
compare your romantic partners to mop buckets?
yes.
How do they take that?
Well,
I don't know. Do mop
know what's-
buckets talk back? I don't know.
that's like a later episode, and the whole thing is what happens is that the mop bucket trades minds with Amy, and so
Yes.
the mop bucket's minds in Amy, and she walks up to Scruffy and just like, I want you, but he knows it's the mop bucket, and he just rejects her because she's
not
a
the
mop
same.
bucket.
Oh, poor mop bucket.
Well, I'm looking forward to that one.
The movie theater
Yeah.
name.
Oh, I didn't look at the name. I was looking at the names of the. I was looking at the names of the movies. Shaft on Africon 9
Yeah, but first of all, the name of the movie theater
was.
was Lowe's Alpha Nullplex, which is like a weird mathematical symbol to represent the smallest infinite cardinal number. And that was just like
I don't know what anything
Like,
you
yeah.
just said means.
that went way over. I watched the commentary and I rewound it and I heard Matt Groening
Explain
Oh,
it.
yeah?
or
Groening.
say the name. No, it's Groening.
That was groaning.
No, that's how it's spelled.
Yeah.
But it's pronounced Groening.
Well, this sucks.
Dude, we just blew
We
your
just-
mind.
Woo!
Like 20
he
years.
just stopped
of-
listening now. But yeah, no, it like that was just a small, super smart joke that was on there. I don't know.
And though
Like,
that's the kind of
I
stuff
thought other
to
people
look
would
forward to in this. I didn't notice the movie theater title or
All right,
whatever.
so
Yeah, I
so
didn't
one of
either.
them was It Came from Planet Earth. Was that the movie they were showing on Chopek 9?
It was, wasn't it? I think so.
Was that
right?
the same
I
one
feel like it
where
was.
it was
yeah.
like
the ones
the,
with robots
yeah.
and they like
Yeah.
the, humans
The
were
1950s, like,
yeah.
robot horror.
Yeah.
But
Right.
then when
Yeah.
a man loves a smizmar, there were 2 smizmar references, at least 2 in this episode.
It comes
What-
back.
Ladies,
Okay.
gentlemen, and smizmars.
Yeah, so what is a smizmar? Has that been explained yet, or is that something that we're building to?
in Kiff's culture,
Yes.
a smizmar is someone that you love and almost that you want to become your wife, but it's not called that. It's you're a smizmar. So down the road,
Okay.
Kiff
no,
and-
I get it. That's fine. We'll
and
get
yes.
there.
What's
or-
the planet called? I keep forgetting, like where he's from.
What, Kiff's Planet?
Yeah.
no, we don't remember. We'll get there.
Do you know, or are you just taunting them?
No, I don't know.
I have no reason to know either.
I also
I
ask questions in a way that I feel like I know what I'm saying, but I do.
Or maybe you
no.
just want
It
the
projects
answer to the
confidence.
question. That's,
Yeah, like
you know.
I'm
No,
just
it's
trying
good.
to participate.
Yeah. You know what? If anything, this is a huge letdown that the 3 guys that have a Futurama podcast were like,
Well, no, the
I don't know.
two of the 3, because there's no reason I should know that yet.
Well, I mean,
There was
in
also
this scenario you shouldn't, but I mean, like, if you were somebody was finding out that 3 guys Futurama, like they would assume that you were also just like the nerdiest Futurama guy. Like,
No,
all
they just
3 of them
assume
were.
I'm old and look like George R.R. Martin, which is fine. It's only it's a tiny little bit accurate, but not in the ways that you would think.
Shaft and African 9.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that's another one of those things where it's like the pop culture characters of our current time last 1,000 years into the future. Do you think it's still played by the same guy?
In that?
Yeah.
No, probably not.
Like it's not his head.
Is it,
It-
Richard Roundtree? Is that
Yeah.
The, is
Do
that
you
the
think
guy?
it's Richard Roundtree's head? as Shaft.
I would
in
like to
Africa
think so.
9?
Oh,
With all the heads in a jar that they have in movies, yeah,
could be.
I would hope so.
There's also Quiz. I can't even say it.
Yeah,
Quiz blog.
I
Quiz Blarg and Quiz Blarg, which is a reference to Seinfeld from Rochelle. The
Is it a
Movie?
reference to
I thought it was
Seinfeld?
a
Yes,
reference,
no, it is
reference
definitely-
to Kramer versus Kramer. Or
I
something
thought
like
it was
that.
a
No,
reference
no.
to
it is
Kazin
definitely a
Kazin.
Rochelle.
yeah, Rochelle
What's
was
that?
a
I don't remember that
ongoing
Seinfeld.
movie.
It's a movie
and
that no one saw ever.
What
and
was
they
it?
apparently brought it up on Seinfeld.
it was a fake movie in Seinfeld.
Oh,
called
yeah?
Rochelle. I don't think it was a real movie.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, I've never
What,
seen it.
what was the Seinfeld episode about? Like they all saw some art film, or they didn't.
It was
see
It was
about
about
nothing.
nothing,
They-
Horchie.
yeah,
Oh.
but they went to the movie theater and they were all in line, and then they had to go other places.
And
yada,
somebody
yada,
cut in
yada.
line, and they were all seething
Oh, the
with
movie.
rage.
Yeah, when they're all. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I remember that. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
I thought it was like Kazin, which is I think a foreign French film.
Or,
I
that
thought
makes
of
more sense.
Rochelle immediately when
or is it that,
Rochelle is based off of this movie that Pete's
or they
talking
just
about.
put two words together, and then we're all sitting around
Debating.
here having a podcast about
Like
it.
one guy was like, "We
trying
need to get this episode finished." Clizbar. And
Okay,
Yeah, like,
there-
put two
there
words
is
together
no-
or the comma. Like,
Yeah.
they'll talk about it later. It's fine.
There is no Rochelle in IMDb. And there is Cousin Kazin, which is a 1975 French film.
I don't remember what. I think this is when they before they went to the movies. They were, I forget what it was, they were suggesting something, and Bender said something, and everyone's like, "Oh yeah," and Bender did his like, "Good point, Bender."
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
something
yeah,
I
yeah.
do regularly. Where when I like, when there's like and I'm like, great idea, Horchie, like throw it in there.
This had another good Zoidberg. We're like, fellows, Planet of the Clams.
Ah. Oh, that's when Bender said it, when he said, "Let's all go see all my circuits, the movie or whatever."
And
That's
it was
right.
like, yeah. That
in an
was really
upside
good.
down world where yeah.
Side note: did I ever tell you guys about my tattoo idea for a sleeve?
No.
I
not that-
want all of the Benders, every different.
Oh, like
type.
that's awesome.
Like
That's a
there's
good.
like Pharaoh Bender.
Yeah.
There was like Bender as a baby. Like
This one, the gender bender.
yeah.
Oh,
exactly. Yeah.
so that's
want-
great. This is after like every episode, the two of them talk about how much they hate Bender and don't like him. So for you to be like, I want a bunch of Benders tattooed on me,
want
and for
the-
Horchie to be like, that's awesome, totally disingenuous.
Is that if we go back
just
and
jealous.
I'm
check
all for it.
I'm editing it
Episode.
over to say that he's just gonna say that he wants to get every fry.
so that you can't think of any time in any of these episodes where I've said like, "Oh no, I don't hate Bender," and Tom said, "I don't hate Bender. He's our least favorite character." I love Futurama. That the worst character on Futurama is still awesome because I love Futurama.
I could barely remember what this episode was until I started looking at my notes, and I just watched a couple days ago.
Yeah, I
so for
forgot
me to
about-
remember something you said, however many weeks ago, potentially is completely off the table.
I will remember anything I can use against you, Pete.
There's plenty.
This
I
episode was
forgot about
another
where I'm at.
What
Well-
in the episode? We'll
where yeah.
we're at the movies.
they're-
Glagnar's Human Rinds.
Diet
no,
malt liquor.
when they
Diet malt liquor.
the
Popcorn with more oil.
small slurm,
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
extra
that's-
small.
yeah.
and then he spills it. I just think that it's funny.
Yes.
funny.
Oh yeah, that show. There was a joke and it was funny. Good,
Why would
good,
he
good
go?
point, Tom.
But why would he go for the extra small?
Have you guys ever watched?
Because it was
Futurama?
25 cents less.
Before today, nope.
Nope, first time ever.
It's a whole joke on the for $1 more you get an extra large with free refills.
Yeah, and it was because I worked at a movie theater for 3 years and I got to say that.
Yeah, you had a meeting
all the
every
time.
morning and you were yelled at because you didn't sell enough extra large
No,
sodas.
man, it was a cool place.
Did you ever get to show
but we
any
did have
NC
to do that. We'd do like, oh, for a quarter more, blah blah blah.
Did you ever get to show any NC-17 movies and then go in and bust kids who were underage?
Yeah, we had to go into like movies and be like, hey, you can't see this, and I'm like, I'm 18 and I'm yelling at some kid like whatever that's 2 years younger than me for this movie.
You might get bad ideas, kid.
Some
Scram.
people, a couple people, and you can ask one of our previous guests, Kristen. She wasn't her, but found people giving some HJs and BJs in the movie theater, and a couple of under the coat little smackety smacks going on with they were jerking off in the movie theater, and
really, I
yeah.
didn't get that reference.
But for what?
Giving a
well, see, you got to see my little hand gesture too, and
But for what movie?
it was like that.
That's a Zoidberg noise.
It's like this, like balls hitting butthole. You got to hear it.
No, they were just doing HJs and BJs.
Oh, sorry, hands hitting balls. Side note, though, not to, I don't know.
No, there's no such thing.
Tell us about your favorite time getting an HJ or a BJ in a theater.
Okay, 1 second. My lady friend, though, for my birthday's coming up, and she is very crafty, and she's making me a chess set that is Futurama themed.
Oh.
All of the pawns are little Slurm cans,
Uh-huh.
and then all of the the major chess pieces are Futurama characters.
What is she making these out of?
Cornstarch and glue, apparently.
So it's edible, too.
I wouldn't want to eat. I mean, do you want to eat cornstarch and glue? That sounds weird.
Did
The first rule of this podcast is honesty.
Well, it's supposed to be
And
crushing
I'm
despair.
also sick and out of it, and just it's a good thing we're cutting that off because I will keep talking about.
I thought
porn.
the
Go
first
ahead.
rule of this podcast was don't talk about this podcast.
Now, Mayor...
It is if you count our fans.
In the newsreel at the beginning of the movie, Mayor Poopenmeyer was the mayor who helped them come up with the plan to get rid of the big ball of garbage, correct?
Well, yeah.
And he was... okay, I was getting him confused with President McNeil,
Who died?
who died when the aliens from Omicron per CIA... Okay, so Mayor Poopenmeyer is still in office?
Yes. He's the mayor of New York.
Okay.
And did you like how it was brought to you by the Human Rights?
Glagnar's Human Rights? Yeah, I'm all for that.
MS3K reference.
Oh, yes.
That was great, and that was a cool thing. Like back then, like because now like Mystery Science Theater 3000 is coming back. It was like one of the most important things I watched as like a kid growing up.
I agree with that. Yeah,
dude. When I was like sixth grade or something like that, it would be on either super late at night on like Comedy Central or the Sci-Fi, like when those channels first came out, and like I would stay up until like 4 a.m, like laughing, waking everybody up in my house, like just.
like watching robots watching a movie.
And I didn't
making
even
fun
get half
it.
of the
Like,
jokes.
this
It was
is
just
insane.
so
This
good.
is perfect.
Yeah.
A lot of it really was.
Yeah.
I mean, I certainly enjoyed that show. I never got too caught up in sort of the the extreme fandom of it.
Yeah.
But like
But you saw a lot of it. I think a lot of people with good taste. Like,
There's still
caught a good
jokes
amount
from
of it.
that I remember like on a daily basis.
But it was this
Nor
thing-
were
apropos of
a lot of the
nothing.
jokes funny. They weren't funny at all, really. But it was so.
It was
bad.
the delivery of over and over, and the movie was so bad. It was like you could have said
Yeah.
anything to make fun of it, and it was
Yep.
like, I mean, some of them the jokes were great or whatever, but a lot of it was just
Like,
like,
I'm so bored. I'm just gonna laugh because this makes me
Yeah.
feel good as a child.
like,
Yeah.
because you could laugh at that movie by yourself, but it wouldn't be the same as like having these robots and this guy. That show it was on. It was that thing where like when you became a teenager and older and stuff, you'd run into people and people liked it, but it was never like this. It never got super popular. It was never a thing that got really popular. So when you would see a reference to it in like Futurama or something, it's like, oh, cool, we're all coming together. I'm watching this nerdy cartoon, hilarious show that not everybody likes, and then they're referencing this thing that I like grew up on that only certain people liked, and
Oh, we
it's
can
just
get into
awesome.
whole discussions about that kind of thing, and the internet ruined all of it.
Yeah, it's true. I mean,
the-
that's kind of a dead thing now.
The
where it's
Miss
like-
Universe was the same one that won previously, right? The paramecium shaped lady.
Yes.
Okay, so there is continuity now going through it. I thought that was
where was she in this? I don't remember.
She was
in the newsreel.
Newsreel.
She was like entertaining the troops or something.
okay.
for exterminating the human race.
So this is maybe maybe not the first time, but this is definitely a time where I got kind of sick of Bender's shenanigans because he was just being an antagonizing asshole.
Especially to
He was
that guy
being a dick.
at the movie theater.
and making robot fat jokes like that. That's the part I didn't understand. Like there's a lot of hoops you have to jump through for that.
And that wasn't a bad looking robot. It was
No.
just a
Yeah, no, she was like a full
model.
bodied robot. Not she wasn't
Like,
She's just trying to have a nice
I think
night
he's
out.
just a jerk. I think Bender just he just wants to fuck
And-
with people.
well,
No one wants to go and do fisticuffs.
No.
Like,
And
no
that's
one.
Tom Kenny, which is
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's-
Oh, that was Tom Kenny?
that's Tom Kenny,
Oh, that's awesome.
who was called Billy West is a huge
Oh, yeah, he loves
Tom
him.
Kenny
Yeah,
fan,
yeah.
and which he was so happy that they got to do an episode together.
Well, and so he's, I mean, I'm sure everybody listening to this show probably knows it, but he's most famously known as SpongeBob.
Yeah.
But also was
SquarePants.
Yes, not
So-
the
so-
not the other
I thought it
SpongeBob.
was-
Well,
I was
we,
like
we are
the-
not friends with
SpongeBob
him.
Jones, you were probably thinking of.
I thought it was like the guy that looks like a cheese.
Right.
I was confused. I didn't really know.
He
It's
was
like saying
also,
Beyonce.
He's also a cast member of from Mr. Show. He did
Yeah,
a
man.
lot of great stuff
Oh,
on there.
Yeah, he was great. on
Billy
the
West
show.
called him the funniest guy in pants.
Yeah.
That's
I-
most
like,
guys.
if you saw
It's
it.
wild.
That reminds me, the opening credits for Calculon the movie. It was all the like robot names, like directing Unit 17 or whatever, and then Joe Esterhaus. So I had to look that up. I'm like, who? That name sounds familiar. Who's that? And he's the guy that wrote like Basic Instinct.
I think he did
Showgirls, Sliver, Flashdance. Like, but it was a lot of like the '90s, like sexy, like crime movies or whatever that I was like not that I would only watch as a kid to like, you know, for the couple of like nude scenes or whatever. Not as good as cartoon porn, but you know, still nice.
He wrote. Also, I discovered there's a Showgirls 2 that he wrote.
Yeah, I saw that on there, man. There's a Showgirls too. Who's in it? I didn't look. I didn't read any of the
One
shit
of the
about it.
characters from the first movie is like the main character in the new movie. Same actress, same
Who?
character.
Which one? One of the
I
main
don't
people,
remember.
or
I
what?
don't know.
Because you
There's
got
Showgirls too.
because
Yes.
you got the girl
And on
from
the-
Saved by the Bell.
I am.
You got the guy from Twin Peaks. Good.
Yeah, he's
He's done a lot.
he's a pretty notorious figure in Hollywood. But yeah,
That's
I
what
actually
we were saying.
I just
just
made
now.
that note too. But like I think he's had like some of the most successful like trashy softcore
Yeah,
porn movies
totally, man.
ever.
That's his thing.
And he's really unapologetic about it. He's just like,
Good for him. Get out there and make the thing that
trash,
you
and
like
he
to,
owns
you
it.
know.
Yeah, it was pretty silly. Now the thing that I was wondering about, they finally get into All My Circuits, the movie, after that nice James Bond,
And then they
opening
get into the
sequence.
choose your own adventure.
Was
on
that
the-
a real thing?
What?
Was the choose your own
Back
adventure
then,
movie?
do you remember that thing where you could do where press 1 if you want to see so and so? Remember, wasn't that a thing with like TV shows? or
That's what I
something?
was
don't-
trying to
Do you
remember.
No,
Remember
I think you're thinking about the like
American
Choose Your
Idol.
Own Adventure books.
No, there was the books, but wasn't
Yeah.
there something that was on TV or something?
Well, like,
where, like
Clue the movie.
I don't know. I'm not rich enough.
I feel
had-
like no, I mean
had
I didn't
3
have
different
that
endings.
technology either, but I feel like there was something where like
And there was a VHS based Clue board
maybe
game.
that's what I'm thinking of.
Where
It's called
you would-
Left Behind.
Well, you would like you'd play the game, but then depending on what cards you drew, you would have to fast forward or
Yeah,
rewind the
that's
VHS to
not-
a
no.
different point.
It's just the fact that it was a reference to movie phone.
Is
Oh.
that it? Is that what they said
Oh,
on the
that was-
commentary?
Hello, movie phone.
It's the
What do
movie
you
phone
think?
guy. What's
I
his
know
name?
it's the movie phone guy, but was that an actual thing? Because really, I mean, I don't know if that's ever been attempted or if I'm just not remembering it.
Or are we just like that crazy that movie phone never existed, but we know it from something else?
Is it like that? The Berenstein and Berenstain Bears?
Exactly. Like,
Dude,
theory,
yeah.
Bum, bum, bum.
I have a lot of those. I can't think of them right now, but there's some stuff where I'm like, no, like, does anyone? No, that was a
Was
thing.
it-
No one remembers it.
was
it was a thing.
Mickey Mouse or Ricky Rouse?
You know what?
Shit,
There's
dude.
this is the archetypal example of that haunts me, and I've confirmed the existence of this thing, but it's still kind of hard to
Let me
come up with it.
Here's a quick quiz. Would you choose watching Calculon double check his paperwork, or where was he going to stop a robbery or something? What was the other thing?
File paperwork or
It was
like a-
press 1 for violent laser gun battle, or press 2 if you want to see Calculon do tedious paperwork.
He's like, he's got his glasses on.
Would
I pressed 1. I'm pretty sure you pressed 2. I'm almost
Oh, yeah.
positive
Like,
you
yeah,
did.
but if you
Yeah.
press two, would that make the movie longer and therefore you get more for your
No,
buck?
No, it's
I
not
think
worth it.
What I got from that joke was the fact that they were filming this movie and they built it up to being in the special effects.
And then they were like,
thing, and then they were
Oh.
like, they didn't have the money to do that, so
that's
it was
how they get you, those
automatically
Hollywood
like-
shysters.
So okay.
Also, after he beat up the masked
Well, hang
unit,
on. He was acting like Max Cady in Cape Fear. Like Bender was just being a horrible piece of shit
He was
in the movie
smoking the
theater.
cigar
Smoking a
and
cigar,
being a
kicking the
dickhead
back
and,
of the seat,
you know.
just really being a turd.
Oh, that was a
Essentially
reference. I didn't even
kicking
get
the
that.
back
Yeah.
of the seat, like,
Yeah.
like,
Which is-
intentionally doing
Oh,
that.
That's
yeah.
the worst. The worst.
I mean, like he no reason. He just started,
But then the flabby bot was all about him after he beat up the mass
Oh, yeah.
unit, and he was all about it.
Who was she with before? A famous fighter, and then she was
yeah,
going
but
for the
well,
alpha male.
Did she know that he was a famous fighter?
Yeah, we
Yeah,
don't
dude,
know that
what
for
is she-
sure.
Okay, we don't know that for sure. That's true. Like he might have been,
He
small,
might have just been
small
charming.
sized and been like, hey, whatever. But I would like to think that she's like, oh yeah, I'm out with the masked unit. He's low key right now because he's
She's
the one that
definitely a
recognized.
robot whore, and she was definitely
Yeah,
robot
after
hell for sure.
after the
Yeah,
verbal
yeah.
abuse that Bender laid on her for being like fat.
She has daddy issues, guys.
Yeah, it bummed me out because it's like it just lost points in my book where she's like, okay, I'm gonna go be codependent with this abusive asshole instead of that one. And maybe we unpack that a little bit more.
She's
and go,
like a lot,
like
like Amy. I mean,
You
Amy
think?
probably would have done the same thing. I'll just wait.
No, Amy probably would have found like the loser and been like, oh, you're damaged. I can fix you.
No.
All right, so I can say we all watch Futurama cartoon porn. Got it. Heard.
Rule 34.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Rule
it's-
34.
It's been
Oh,
discussed.
wait. Oh, is that a rule?
It's
Oh,
the
man.
Rule 34 of the internet is that if it
How
exists,
we had all these dudes on, and
There's
like,
a porn
you and I are
version
the
of
only
it.
creeps that knew about this shit. There's a thing. Tom, you explain it. I'll just stumble
Rule
over my
34
words.
of the internet is that if it exists, there's a porn version of it on the internet.
Got it. Heard.
So-
my
So there's a
apologies.
Thunder
site,
Cougar
and
Falconhawk.
It's
There is-
mostly animation and drawings, and a lot of it is like fan drawings. But it's like every cartoon you've ever seen.
Thunder
has,
Cougar Falconhawk is a
some
porn
out
version of
there.
itself.
It is a porn version of
You guys want to
itself.
talk about that for a second, or
What, the porn?
No.
Oh,
Oh,
you mean Thunder Cougar
I just
Falconhawk?
thought like a Thunder Cougar Falconhawk.
Actually, I
porn.
do want to talk about that.
That'd be crazy.
Wait,
is
you
it
guys haven't made that already?
Or is it the car?
I
or
thought-
is it all the birds
I
and
thought
animals?
after that piece that the Huffington Post ran on you, and for our listeners, you can go search
Oh, I
the
forgot
Huffington
about
Post for
that.
Thunder
And
Cougar
Seba-
Falconhawk.
I didn't know about that.
Oh yeah,
What happened?
We were on Huffington Post. Someone posted a interview about us, which is
Yeah.
crazy.
As being like, was it a joking thing?
no,
where they
it was
were
about how-
tongue-in-cheek
No.
thing on you?
They're
or
saving
no?
rock and roll.
What's wrong,
Yeah,
what's
man,
wrong
I
with my
forg-
cheeks?
No,
I don't
nothing.
think-
Nothing.
Get your
No,
tongues
okay.
out of them. That's the problem.
All right.
Horchie was in a Huffington Post article,
Yeah.
but is making fun
I
of
thought
him.
it was
That's what I'm
I
used
thought
to.
it was BuzzFeed.
No. Okay. I don't know if Sebastian brought this up or not, but
No.
a lady emailed me and she goes, I want to interview your band. I want to do this. And I was like, okay, cool. Sounds good. We have a show this night. Show up around 9:00 because if you show up any later than that, I'm probably going to be drunk.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So she shows up like
that's
actually,
that's 2 hours before you would actually play. Too.
Exactly. Yes. She shows up. She's wasted, and this woman is probably 55 years old. Like she's an old cat.
Does she look like somebody that like
No.
got drunk on like a bunch of like white wine beforehand, or like was she like or
She's living the dream.
She
She's
got drunk on
writing
depression
entertainment
and
for-
sadness
Okay.
about 20 years
a music
Okay.
critic for.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
The
gonna, have
Huffington
to,
Post.
you're gonna have to cut all this out to avoid libel and whatnot. But go for it.
I don't give a shit. No, anyway, she was like she seemed a little intoxicated. But she was like, I want to interview you guys. And I was like, okay, cool. So like me and Sebastian went down in the basement of the Spitfire. We talked to her, said a bunch of stuff. And she was like, I'm going to do this for the Huffington Post like next week. Like, is that cool with you guys? And I was like, yeah, like that's awesome. Like put it on there. Okay. I don't know who
We're gonna go upstairs and play for 10 people now. Excuse me.
Yeah. That's exactly what we said. We're like, okay, whatevs.
is it Huffington Post with like 3 T's at the end? Like
HUFINGDON.
It was HuffingtonPost.com, and I don't know.
It's a porn site where people just.
And I
huff
was like,
things.
why is this in my history? This is weird.
They huff a ton of things.
HuffingtonPost.com. I was like, well, this is just weird for me. No, but she was like, I'm going to put this on Huffington Post. And I was like, okay, cool, whatever. Stayed for the show, left, never heard anything from her. next day, got an email from her. She was like, "Oh, you guys are in Huffington Post." On the same page that a Jeff Goldblum story came up. So it was like all the search things like came up. It was like we got like a lot of press from it. It was like Jeff Goldblum is weird, blah blah blah, like a weird thing. And I was like, holy shit, this is fucking real. I was
Huge.
Like, I was like, this like I was like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
And then I reread what I said to this lady, and I was like, I'm the cockiest motherfucker I've ever in my life.
You know what though, dude? If you're getting interviewed for your band, be the cockiest motherfucker.
When those
you know what I mean?
when
Like-
those $7 worth of download monies came in from Bandcamp, it was all worth it, right?
Yeah.
I've been there. When I get those $12 checks every 3 months for being betting music on horrible MTV shows,
Oh, you're
it's
just
all
a
worth
little
it.
bitch. I get those direct deposited.
Well, that's the BMI
Oh no,
money.
Pete likes to walk in there like,
Yeah.
check this out, sign it.
Here's a
give
check
it
for
to the teller.
47 cents. How about that?
All right, so this brings up a really good point.
4 inches,
bring-
but it's thick.
Fry wanted to join a
bringing
marble
up
eating contest.
your band, and we talked about it with Sebastian, but bringing up the band Thundercougarfalconhawk. I remember when you guys like were having your first few shows and wherever, and I saw you, and it didn't even occur to me. I'm like, oh, that sounds like that thing from Futurama, and Tom had to like go like, oh, well, where do you think it came? Oh, okay, so they love Futurama. So here's my question, series of questions. Obviously, you're here.
What does the word thunder mean?
Are you or have you ever been a member of the Communist Party?
Sebastian has.
So I already know you're a big fan of the show. You were supposed to be on the episode last week. Things got moved around where it was the Thunder Cougar Falcon Bird episode. Is this a show that you got into like right away when it came out, or is it something that like you found later, or like? Well, okay. My first question: 1999, the show came out. Were you?
How old do you think I was in 1999?
I'm guessing you're around Sebastian's age, so like
Yeah.
11 or whatever.
I got into it a little bit later on Netflix. Started watching it. Me and him both started watching it. Everything was good. He came up with this name. He was like, let's call it Thundercougarfalconhawk. And I was like, no. I was like, that name sounds so fucking shitty. Like, I don't, it's too long. No one wants that. If we're going to do it, we're going to abbreviate it. And we were working at a bar called Anthony's at the time. And we went.
Was there a real Anthony, or was he just a fictional character?
No, check this out. The owner was named Tony.
No.
I'm being dead serious.
His name was Anthony Tony.
So he was only one tone away from Tony.
What was it?
No,
Oh shit! What was his
like-
middle name? He could have been.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, crazy.
Tonya.
So anyway, so you guys.
And
Yeah.
we'll be back next
Yeah.
week. No, I don't know what his middle name was, but we went around the whole bar that we worked at, and I was like, everyone was like, I don't like this, I like this, blah, blah, blah. Figured everything out. And I was like, look, dude, I don't even care anymore. Let's call it Thundercougarfalconhawk. And then he was like, so check this out. This is how I got this. He goes, so I watched this episode of Futurama, and we started talking about it, and Thundercougarfalconhawk is a split between Futurama and Aquabats.
Okay. Yeah.
There's a whole Aquabat story. He'll tell you later if you guys have him on there. I really don't.
We're gonna have to press him for that. Next
Yeah,
time
yeah.
he's on.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah. I'm not really an Aquabats fan.
Okay.
But
I like
Lewis
him, but I
just
like him
turned
in
this
passing.
episode
Like
off.
neat, but I'm not like
it was,
a fan.
It was a
I like 'em.
combination.
They're
It was a
cool.
combination of two because it's like what is the quote in the show? Like Thunder Cougar Falcon Bird.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he was like, well, I guess Hawk will sound better than Bird.
That's how I always figured it was. It
Yeah.
was like that sounds like a better band name with the.
It's still Soundcat Bird if you want to put it in any way.
Okay.
I went to an Aquabat show once with my ex-wife. She was a fan.
Mm-hmm.
I got yelled at by the singer for not participating in a sing-along. He called me grandpa. That was like 15.
And that was
that was like 15 years ago.
You know, they're actually like they own or like they're responsible for like a kids show. Like, what is that? What is it
Yeah.
called?
Well, they are responsible for Yo Gabba Gabba, which is actually good.
Yeah,
Like,
that's it.
That was something that was totally palatable for me when my daughter was into it. Like,
Yeah.
like as
That's
most
what I hear
like,
from a lot of dads here.
Yeah,
Isn't
a
Mark
lot
that
of
came
Mother
out?
Mark
Or dads with
Mark
kids your age?
Mothersbaugh was on it as sort of. You remember?
I thought he helped like produce that or
he
write?
did- I think
stuff
he
on
did
that?
some of the music. Do you remember when prolific rapist Bill Cosby had the Cosby Kids show, and sometimes they'd show up on like maybe even Reading Rainbow or Sesame Street, but he'd be like, "I got a magic pen, and I'm gonna draw."
Yo, that was a whole show where
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
where he would
so-
draw
So
Magic pen.
Dating yourself
Mark-
right there, though.
yeah, I know. I knew Bill Cosby as a pop culture figure before he was a prolific rapist.
When all this was farmland.
So
Peaches, Peach
Mark-
Grove is as far as the eye can see.
I was
Mark,
there when Theo, people were racist to Theo in school.
yeah,
We were all there.
the but
And when Vanessa got her first period.
on Yo Gabba Gabba, Mark Mothersbaugh would do like the same sort of thing where he'd have like a magic pen and he'd draw stuff and then it would animate.
Oh.
So yeah, Aquabats did that. Then they also, I think, had an Adult Swim show that was like their own superhero show or something. I mean,
Travis Barker was in the Aquabats.
He
I
was.
know.
He was in the Aquabats. Agreed.
I didn't know that.
I have never heard an Aquabat song in my life.
it's like
It's goofy.
ska with weird,
Ska,
silly
pop
lyrics.
punk stuff.
I
Yeah.
hate ska.
Yeah. I'm
don't
right
like it.
there with you.
Here's real quick. Not a ska fan. Couple of ska bands. Couple of ska songs. Couple of punk bands that like fucked around with ska a little bit. That were punk bands, but had like once in a while there'd be a horn. And I like Op Ivy and I like NoFX and
You know what?
Caddies and etc. That's it. And some
All
other
right,
bands.
Quit scratching your axle.
All right. All right.
No.
All right,
Let me-
Horton.
hold on, Greg.
I have a question. Back to the Scott thing,
Yeah.
sadly. If aliens came to Earth, we'll talk about that later. But
Oh yeah, we can. I can.
Wait, if
sorry, and if they were like, what is? I learned this word ska. What is this word ska? Like, is it like a? Like, I don't know. Like, ska.
It sounds like a sound that comes out of-
Exactly. Like, what is it? Who would you play for them? Like, personally, if they were like, "What's metal?" I'd be like, "Oh, this is Slayer." I
Okay.
actually fucking hate Slayer. I don't really like them.
No.
It's not my shit.
But you'd
I
be
get
like,
it.
this is
But
what you
this
should
is
hear.
the
To,
epitome
okay.
of metal. Who would
What
be
would
the
I-
epitome
for
of
ska?
Yeah. Who would be like the
Okay.
definition of that?
It would be
Keep it short because I don't care.
It would be Madhouse or Mighty Mighty Boss Tones. I don't know which one to. Tom, do you have an
the
answer?
specials.
I do. No, I would probably play a clip of a cat crying where I would pitch it down half a step and then just loop it
And then
over and
speed it
over
up
again.
Look,
And just
we're effectively
maybe throw a trumpet in somewhere.
We're effectively making sure that Jim Mathias is never a guest on this show, and he probably won't ever serve us drinks anymore either.
Hey, I was in the corner for
No,
ska
look,
on this one. I'm
you
just
know,
saying.
it's
it takes me to a fun time when I was a kid and I was high all the time.
It's
and
an easily
fucking
reviled
hanging out.
topic.
People
There's-
were wearing plaid pants and it was fucking,
it's
once-
definitely one of those things like The Cure where I hated it for years because of the fans
It
more
wasn't
than
good.
the actual music.
Right, I got you.
How did we get on ska?
I don't know. Yeah. I thought this
The
was
Aquabats.
They were talking about a TV show.
The
here.
Aquabats.
Oh, yeah, I know.
I love the Cure. Fuck you,
Right.
Pete.
Anyway, so Thundercougarfalconhawk was part
Yes,
It's
so
because
you guys were
we
like,
all got our
"Yep,
official
Futurama,"
Bender
and
hats.
then-
It's partly because of Futurama and the Aquabats, and we have a new album coming out, and we're doing those things, yada, yada, yada. No one cares. It's awesome. We're going to release these things. You'll see it on Facebook if you follow us. If not, I don't really know what to tell you.
We'll let
That's
you
about
plug
it.
it all
Yeah,
at
at the end,
Yeah.
we're gonna want to hear all about.
In fact, Tom
new
might
album,
cut that out and
etc.
stick it at the end.
Point.
Anyway.
Sounds good.
No, so naming a band is kind of the worst. Like it's really difficult.
It's okay. It's not the worst. It's the best thing about being in a band is talking about being in a band.
Yep,
Like,
yep, it's true.
Wait, what?
At this
When
point,
you're, like,
well,
talking
how
to
did you
people
come
about
up
how
with
we
the
should
band-
start
how
a
did you come
band
up
and,
with
like,
the
whatever?
name Restless Habs?
it is a song by a band that me and Ken and the original drummer
Drill
all
Call.
really like. Big Drill
How
Call.
Yeah, don't
many-
name the band.
How many people denied that initially?
Genesis.
What do you mean?
Like how like you said, hey, I want the band to be Restless Habs.
We were all on the same page, and then we Googled it, and there was not one other fucking
Oh,
band
rich
named
kid,
Restless
huh?
Habs. Look, it was. Here's the thing that you have to consider. Ken for 20 plus years, and
Yeah.
me for about 10 of it, were in a band called The Unknown. Now they
Right, yeah.
they named that band in 1989 before there was an internet. What happened when
Oops.
the internet came
Before
along is when you
Unknown
search
artist,
for
unknown
when you
artist.
search for
So
unknown,
before
it
the
turns into a
what?
thing. So the
Yeah.
next time that we went to name a band, we're like, this shit is not that shit's not gonna fucking happen anymore. And now if you Google,
AOL
Restless Habs,
dial-up,
you
got
either
it.
get a video for the song by the band or you get stuff about us. The end.
Yeah.
That's all of it. But, the irony of all of that is when we were in The Unknown, the band that was our biggest influence was called All. And they had the same fucking problem. Go into web crawler and Netscape Navigator and search All.
I remember Netscape Navigator.
It was like the goddamn internet and database theory.
AOL dial-up that you got those little discs for
Yeah.
free.
Oh, yeah.
Basically,
from
like
Walmart.
anybody out there, if you really like ska, you need to check out the Restless Habs, The Unknown, Thundercougarfalconhawk.
We're talking right now.
Can I mention some of the wrestlers that Bender fought, or do you
Yes.
guys want to wait? Okay, so one thing earlier in the episode when Bender was fucking with the guy in front of him and smoking a cigar, right at the end of that, I'm like, oh shit, he's smoking a cigar in a movie theater, and I was like, oh, like I was
It's okay. He's a robot.
No, I was, but I was thinking it reminded me of like, oh, when you could smoke in places or whatever. It was on the show, and it sometimes it could be something that would happen on the cartoon, and it's like, oh, it doesn't have to be. But then later, the chain smoker was one of the wrestlers, and he's like, and I'm gonna smoke in all your favorite restaurants, and I was like, oh, this came out when I was smoking in restaurants, when we were like at a restaurant, and there was a smoking section. And like at the bar and everything, and it was a funny like I don't know, just
Back
a
in
reminder.
1999, was New York?
No,
still,
I
like-
don't think New York was. I think Cali might have been, but
California was, I think, the
like
first
mid '90s,
state,
like
late
96,
'90s, I think,
95,
but like,
97, something
but
like that.
I mean, it was definitely one of those things where, like in Ohio, where people were like, those fucking crazy hippies out in California.
This was
This is-
2000. It came
it
out.
was like,
it was
February.
like
it was like
2000.
early 2000s, I think. That's when you couldn't smoke in bars.
It was like 2004
Have you
or
seen
5 or
like
something.
when
Six?
Peabody?
when did the Spitfire open? Because it opened and then the smoking ban went into effect. So it was at least
was-
within the
No,
last
it was
9
way
years.
after. I was smoking in this
No,
for a few years before
Yeah,
that smoking ban.
06 is when
and
It
I
was,
was
like 2002, I think.
I was 21.
Columbus
I think I was like 26
was earlier.
when
Yes.
you couldn't smoke
You're
in the
just
bars.
saying
or whatever.
keywords right now.
California
Columbus,
smoking ban, 1998.
Really?
1998 for California.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Huh.
I remember because you guys remember that movie The Game with Sean Penn and Michael.
I'm trying not
Fucking-
to. Why? What's
I'm
the
thinking of
point?
the rapper.
You know what I'm talking about?
Michael
With
Douglas.
Michael Douglas. At the beginning, Sean Penn smoking a cigarette, talking to Michael Douglas. They're brothers, and the waitress comes up and she's like, I'm sorry, sir, you can't smoke in this restaurant. According to California laws. He's like, fuck California, and he like gets all mad or whatever. And I remember being like, there's a place where you can't smoke in the restaurant, and it was like weird because it was news to me.
That's
as like
how
I
I spent
was in high school, you know.
60% of my high school and college years were spent smoking in restaurants, bars, or coffee shops. That's it. We would cut class and go drink coffee and smoke cigarettes
Yeah, that
at
was like,
Friendly's or Michael's restaurant.
My friends.
If this was
diners.
70s, we were doing this
At a
podcast in the 70s,
Friendly's.
I'd be smoking right now while we were doing this podcast.
Yeah, and
Wearing
I'd be on an airplane
a black and white
smoking.
suit, you know, like.
First off, Pete, you said a Friendly's. Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck is a Friendly's?
Oh, there.
Whoa!
Jesus Christ.
I am way too
Oh, my
young
gosh.
for that.
Seriously?
I've been
Amazing
to
ice
one.
cream.
I saw one once. That was
Oh,
Yeah,
Friendlies
you
were
know,
everywhere. Like,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
you could get that cone guy with the eyeballs. And
The one that we
apparently you're allowed to
okay,
smoke.
so
in front of
it was
Or
a
in it.
family restaurant, also known for its ice cream. They were fine. You could go in and get like a cheap patty melt and some fries.
yeah,
and
man,
sit
that
there
was
and
like
drink
a
cup of
good
coffee.
that was like a good Friday with my dad after like the divorce was him picking
Hey,
up
we're
me
going
and
to
my little
Friendly's.
sister like not McDonald's tonight. We're going to Friendly's.
They had
and we're
little
gonna
ice
go
cream
there.
cups with
We're gonna-
Reese's
I'm gonna get
Pieces like embedded in them that
Yeah,
you could
man.
and fudge on top. It was pretty great. But the one that we went to, it's over by the Whole Foods in Rocky River now because that was
No, it's not.
well, it's not there anymore. Now it's the Pet Supplies Plus.
That
and
was
the
one
Pizza
of the
Hut.
last ones to close.
That
right?
was that was one of the last ones. The Whole Foods there used to be a Rite Aid pharmacy, and that's where we would all go hang out after school and smoke cigarettes and whatnot. And so when we were like, let's go get some coffee, we'd either go into the Friendlies or to the other 24-hour Greek diner that still is in that
Michael's?
That plaza, yeah. Which
Gotta love
that was the
Michael's.
place to go at like if you're coming out of the bar, coming home from a show, and you're not going to My Friends or rallies, like Michael's was the place to go.
Linden Tavern's over there too.
Not anymore.
Not
That's been
anymore.
closed for
But
years.
I love the Linden Tavern.
It's a pretty great
R.I.P.
place. Now it's all ruined by Whole Foods, so
So, anyways,
whatever. You can buy a mattress over there too.
my favorite wrestler that he fought,
Foreigner?
Yes. Look at my crazy passport. My customs are different. I can't remember. He had a couple of good.
Can you say that in his voice though?
Look at my crazy
He had
passport.
kind of like a Russian French
it's like
combination.
A
It was
weird, yeah, it's like-
hey, look at my crazy passport.
I'm not from around
Oh,
here.
yeah.
But that's basically what all of the WWF, and back then it was the WWF, was about. It's like, let's get some kind of xenophobic shit going on, and
Yeah, he had a lot
do
of that. Yeah,
so,
he had like.
but so again, then we hit this this other part that's like,
I'm not from around here.
no, okay. So there's a bunch of stuff going on with these things. Number one, Bender keeps a chair inside his magical chest cavity that he pulls out, but then Bender beats the chain smoker and then starts smoking a cigar.
that was great. That was the best part of that, was that he was like, yeah, this guy, and then
So again, we come to this like weird insensitivity to trans and cross-dressing and all of
back
these
then,
things.
That was a thing. Like
It's been in
that
like
would
the
have
last
never
6
even
episodes.
occurred to me at that time. I was like, yeah,
You're gonna
trannies
be the
and et
gender
cetera,
bender
like-
and da da da, and it's like okay, which I think goes back to like. If you want to go way back to like Gorgeous George, like his whole thing was coming out with like blonde curls and perfume and fur coats and stuff, a la Liberace. And then in the
That's who Gorgeous Gonks after the Masked
is
Defender.
it? Yep.
That's
Okay.
who he's based off of.
Yeah.
so the other thing is like in the mid '90s, they did all that shit with Mick Foley, where like he was Cactus Jack in the independent and the weird fucked up barbed wire hitting Japanese wrestling circuit. And then when he came into the WWF, they like flipped him through a whole bunch of characters before they eventually wound
Yeah,
up
he
on
was
Mankind.
Cactus Jack, and he was
Dude Love.
Dude Love, and
There was another one in there too, I think, and then ultimately Mankind. But like it was just they would do all kinds of shit
all
like that.
all the robot wrestlers are based off of WWE wrestlers. It's
Yeah.
like the Billionaire Bot, obviously Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man. The Chainsmoker is based off the Sandman from ECW.
Okay.
My favorite.
What?
The
yeah.
Clear Cutter apparently might be a parody of Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
kind of, in a-
Then the Foreigner was Iron Sheik, which
Oh,
actually
or
was like
or Nikolai Volkov.
or that.
yeah, yeah.
Actually, at any point during WWE
Or Andre the Giant,
like,
for that matter.
yeah.
any foreigner that was a enemy
Not a
of
real
United-
American.
Yes, exactly. And then my favorite is when he becomes gender bender. Oh, you'd be just as unpopular as Sergeant Feces Processor.
And why did he become gender bender? Because he couldn't move sandalwood. I said T-berry, not sandalwood.
I would actually prefer Sandalwood over T-Berry.
They're
There,
both
there was
great.
an aside in there where
don't-
they're like,
They both sound like they smell delicious. Like they would be the kind of soap I would eat and then go like, oh, now I have to poop, and I wish I hadn't eaten that soap.
robot fighting is real, like
There's
pro
soap on a-
wrestling.
There's
It's
actually soap on a rope.
not. what is it? He says robot fighting isn't real like pro wrestling. It's fixed like boxing.
Yeah, that was a good line. Yeah. So everybody, different
I'm
different
a
ages.
real
here. When you were a
toughie.
little kid, did you think wrestling was real when you were like
Oh yeah,
6?
Yeah.
I did.
absolutely. When I found out it wasn't real, it was devastating.
I came of age during the ascendance of the WWF. So I
was-
mean, like this was Hulk Hogan's ramshackle cartoon.
Yeah.
Like that was
I was
really
watching-
that
I
was
had
the
the
point where
action
Vince
figures,
McMahon kind of
yeah.
turned the whole thing. I
Yeah.
mean, it blew up.
It became
My
at that
family was
point.
renting the pay-per-view of the like the big WrestleManias, you know, when like Macho Man was fighting Hulk Hogan back when he was like the original like Hulk Hogan. And
Yeah.
I was like,
Oh
that was my
man,
shit when I was a
the
kid.
one time Macho Man Randy Savage got like thrown down on the barricade on some show, and like his jaw like hit the thing, and then after that, my dad explained to me that wrestling was completely fake.
I saw the. I don't
And-
remember who it was, but I saw the episode where whatever you call it, the match where Jake the Snake Roberts was fighting somebody, and somebody took his bag that had the snake in it, and like obviously the snake wasn't in there anymore, but like threw it there, and then they all started beating the he was like elbow dropping the bag, and I'm like, oh my god, it's fucking Snake! I was like a little kid, and I'm
That's
like,
where his power
this
comes
is
from.
cruel, man.
You're 4 years old going, oh my God, it's fucking Snake.
Yeah, I mean that was a big deal. I'm like, they just killed that snake.
I was homeschooled my entire life, and I was not allowed to watch wrestling.
You know what though?
I mean
That has
dead
benefited
serious.
you in a
Yeah,
lot
probably.
of ways
You
because
think?
you should not watch wrestling.
You know what's funny? I was allowed to watch wrestling. I was not allowed to watch The Simpsons for the longest time.
I kind of want to get into wrestling now, like watching like old stuff, like the stuff that you're talking about that I
keep
have no
trying
idea
to.
about.
You know what? I keep trying to. It just
it's
doesn't do it for
periodic.
me,
They're
like-
so after liking it as a kid,
I think it's neat. I think it's a neat thing that people like.
I want to watch like a really giant blonde-haired dude like stomp some dude that's 6'7", who his name is like the Undertaker, and he's like "fuck you," and then like shit, hilarious antics ensue.
it's definitely like a cyclical
I totally
thing.
get the
Like,
appeal. I keep like I enjoy. I think it's a neat thing. I think it's neat that people like it.
I watched
don't,
it as a
you know.
kid. And was enamored with it, and then got out of it for several years. And then, like in the late '90s, I worked
When
with
it
a
came
guy.
back with the
Like,
the
basically
Rock
like
and
the
Stone
Rock
Cold
and
stuff,
Penn.
or whatever.
I mean, like,
and
I
I watched those too, and I was like, this is cool, but I
Mick
just, I couldn't
Foley
get into
is
it.
an engaging ass character.
He is.
I mean, and
Absolutely.
he's just a super interesting
He's an
guy.
engaging
The
person
whole-
in general.
Yeah.
WWF Attitude run that they did. That's when like Mick Foley and like they had
Rock and-
The Rock, and they had Generation X and everything like that. That was a lot of fun, and then it went farther and farther, and now it's to the point where it like I
It's
think
just fake now.
I think at the point where the entire
Now?
McMahon family started taking steroids and wrestling is where I checked out. Like when they all started looking like fire plugs, including Stephanie, who was like this young petite girl, and all of a sudden she's like looked like China. She's like, "Hi, I'm gonna join the ladies wrestling now." It was really like
She
R.I.P.
died.
This is
China
weird.
Die of cancer or something? Or
I think
what is-
China died of a horribly spent life. She just got overtaken by a bunch of issues. It was, I think, ultimately it was like a drug.
I'm motioning
overdose.
Jaeger bombs right now, though.
Rich Little.
Yeah, was that the real Rich Little?
That was
Hey,
Rich
welcome to the
Howard
best
Cosell.
Futurama podcast that I've ever been on.
Was it a fake George Foreman?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely, yeah.
I don't know who did it.
Hey,
Somebody-
man, who had
I
a
think-
If
George
it was fake, it was probably John DiMaggio.
Who had a George Foreman grill?
Or
I had two.
David Herman.
I had
could also
one.
have done
It broke. My mom bought me one. Maybe I didn't have two. Dan had one, and I had one when we lived together. And you had one, Greg?
I have one now. The grease just falls into the sink.
I remember like
Not into-
when I got it,
not
I
into
was
your
like,
mouth.
"What are you
It is
doing with
John
my
DiMaggio.
grease? I need that." And then I was like, "Oh, it does kind of taste better in a way, and maybe I'm gonna die later because of this
My
or whatever."
roommate
But
saves all of the grease from it. It's a weird thing. Like I have like piles of bacon grease in my fridge.
But you
in
can
freezer
That's how you make
cans or
freezer.
bags or like
That's how you make eggs. The
Cups.
best eggs are cooked in bacon.
You can do that?
dude,
Try-
yeah. I
try
know.
and-
bacon.
here.
Make the bacon and then make the eggs. In
Take
the
your
thing
bacon.
after.
I just don't think we're at that point in my life
Naked
where
bacon?
like you want to use like other grease. Like I'll buy you grease.
No,
like,
no.
grease,
You're missing.
man.
You're missing
Like,
the point, man. The rendered bacon fat is superior.
You think
Use
so?
it to make popcorn. Use it to cook shishito peppers in. I'm
Spell
serious.
shishito.
shito.
What is it?
They're a little Japanese pepper that you fry and put some salt and seasoning on. And
All
they're
right,
delicious.
he got us on this one.
They have the
Go
those
ahead.
peppers have the will of the warrior.
Nixon was in this episode. He had a line.
Yeah. And
it's funny
get
because-
that hippie out of the ring.
We're recording this now, but this week was the one that the Nixon episode came out.
With Sean.
With Sean, and it was funny. And then we were like, yeah, he comes back. He's a recurring character, and it's funny that like he was just in there for that one line. And
Yeah, and that he's there. There were two things about that where on the outside of Madison Cube Garden, the sign said, no, in quotes, gambling. And then they're talking about how there's 0 to 1,000 odds, where with no money down, if Bender wins, you get $1,000.
Very few takers.
That was
very
very few takers. Yeah. I know I'm jumping ahead, but
It's the most one-sided fight since Muhammad Ali fought an 80-foot mechanical Joe Frazier.
I don't remember if that
Pretty
happened.
sure the Earth was destroyed.
Oh,
Yeah.
What was the quote? It was like float like a float
Float
like,
like
a
a
fight bot, like
floating
float
bot.
like, yeah, like, float
Sting
like
like
a fight
a
bot, sting
automated
like
sting machine or something like
I,
that.
oh shit! What was that?
Float like a float bot or sting like an
An
automatic
automatic
stinging
machine.
machine. We totally skipped over that.
No,
That's a great
after
line.
after George
So
Foreman
good.
said, I'm pretty sure the Earth was destroyed, and then Rich Little was like, interesting if true. The only note I have left, except underneath I wrote togalore.com, but the note from the
a
show
website that you
was
should check out. I do own stock in that.
was when they found so Bender's like, why won't somebody help me? Fry, throw in the towel, whatever. And then Fry has the brain slug on his head. And then later, it's like the flattened, like dead brain slug. And like, poor little guy starved to death. And that was like, that's not even like a Fry line, but like my favorite
Nope.
kind of like Fry.
My note about that is Fry's brain slug starved to death. Fry's so dumb.
Yeah.
He's so dumb that his brain slug starved to death.
Didn't generate enough energy for it to.
He doesn't have that
Just
brainwave
leave
that
that
they need.
stupid thing to Pete.
No, that's what. But
No,
that's
yeah,
hilarious.
yeah,
That's my last note. Is Fry is so dumb, brain slug starved to death.
You guys
Here's
are
a
adorable.
question.
Did you
Rich
ever feel
Little.
like that though?
Rich Little,
What, that,
alive or
if you had a
dead?
brain slug, it would
Alive.
just starve
No,
to
that's
death.
never feel
77?
like that dumb, like
Something
you
like
don't have
that?
a brain slug.
Probably.
Ever feel that
78.
dumb that what?
78.
He was
Yeah.
born in
feel-
1938. Rich Little.
Hold on. Greg is asking me a question.
Okay,
goddammit.
here's another one. Rich Little, American or Canadian?
5.
Tuesday.
Canadian.
According to Wikipedia, he's both.
Yeah, we all got it right.
Oh.
Awesome.
Is he voting for the? I mean,
He was the middle of
Can he
3
vote?
sons of Lawrence Peniston Little, a doctor.
Penis.
I'm sorry, did you say Peniston?
Peniston.
Do you think that's how they pronounce it?
Lawrence Peniston Little.
I mean, that guy that made Madman, his name is Mark Weiner, but he tries to tell people it's Mark Weiner.
Look,
it ain't, dude.
What's that word look like to you? Capital P, right in the middle. It's in English. Don't try and translate it.
I'm looking at the blue letters. I can't find it, dude.
On the floor. Got it.
Could you enlarge it so I could?
Yeah, my accent's really
No,
bad,
it
too.
won't let me
I was
blow
gonna
it up.
go ahead and say that's Wiener.
Peniston
Yeah.
of the Peniston clan.
This has been fun for me.
He doesn't
Good,
spell
yeah,
it.
me too.
He doesn't spell it like C.C. Peniston. Wasn't that the name of the
Is
singer?
Peniston a thing?
Maybe he does spell it like that. It's more fun to say the other way.
Like, you went to high school with a girl named Jennifer Peniston, I'm assuming. Like,
No, you know what? He does
you have
spell
a
it.
precedent for this.
C.C.
God,
Peniston.
could you imagine being a girl in high school with the last name Peniston? Like, or a guy, but I mean, really, especially a girl in high
Right.
school with the last
Yeah,
name
no,
Peniston.
there's that's not a such.
No,
there's
C.C.
such thing.
Peniston spells it the same way, so it was probably pronounced Peniston.
I
But
was
that's way
going.
less
I
fun.
was going to school with your last name Woodward.
I never even thought to. Well,
It was fine. You know, they had way
the
more.
average amount.
There
of-
were so many other things that I got made fun of before my name even came into it. that it just-
What,
that's
your
what I
face?
did. I got in front of it. I was like,
No,
"Hey,
look.
look at me! I got a Star Trek sweater on."
being like
Like, why would you beat up somebody that beat up their own self?
Being-
Like, why would you? Like, that's
being
crazy.
socially awkward, bucktooth, overweight, and smarter than everyone else in your class doesn't exactly make for being popular in school.
No,
what was it
doesn't.
like being homeschooled? And are your parents happy with your choices since you escaped
Yeah.
their
I
shackles?
have been to one school in my entire life.
Only one.
Yep, I walked in once.
Mom University.
You went there too.
Did you
I
just
got my
walk-
doctorate.
Did you go in and you were like, nope, and then you were done?
I was like, "Where's my mom at? This is stupid." No, it was fine. Like people were like, "How did you make friends?" I was like, "Well, I'm not retarded, so I can like." Kinda
I mean,
like make,
hard
I
R.
have a normal conversation with people, and then I guess like looking at my life now, this is how I made normal conversation.
Were there bullies at home school?
Podcasts.
Yeah, my dad was a dick.
That's the worst bully.
Took my lunch money every day.
So one last thing about the fight
He
scene.
would just,
Wait,
he would
wait,
just mouth
wait.
to me.
Wait.
Just fuck your teeth.
My dad's dead. Okay, go ahead.
Yes, and Van Halen "Hot for Teacher" was my favorite song ever. Yes, never heard that joke before. It's fine.
there
Oh,
was the
I wish I had thought of it before he said it.
there was the black and white sequence where Bender gets knocked out, and it, calling like basically an homage to Raging Bull, and hence
Yep.
the title of the episode.
Yes.
And the 3D where he gets punched in the
Yeah,
face
it
is
was
fucking
it was
sweet.
gorgeous. But then
Yeah.
as soon as he hits it and it goes away, then he's not broken anymore. Like he was just knocked out.
Yep.
Cartoon.
Yeah. I'm glad. I'm really glad
He gets
that
drilled in the head. He gets an axe in the back.
I'm
he's
glad
all right
that
later,
Leela
they
gave
fixed
Master
him up.
Fanog his comeuppance because he was a horrible, shitty
Oh yeah,
person to
I'm
begin
glad.
with.
Like they were making that whole point, like, oh, he's like, you're a girl, whatever, and then she kicked the shit out of him, and then she punched the thing through the thing. I like that Bender lost at the end, anyways, and got flattened. That was
Yeah.
like a good, like.
We got an email from someone named Jesse. Hello, Jesse. Thank you for checking the show out. He had a lot of complimentary things to say, and
I don't know why.
So he raised a really good
Until
well
this episode.
he provided this question to us, and it's kind of interesting. I don't have the deep knowledge of the show as a whole to really answer it, but what
We
he
talked about Futurama once.
yeah. So like what he said was, do we feel
That's our quota.
or do each of us feel that throughout the run of the show, did Leela undergo a Flandersization, as he put it, where
That's a reference to The Simpsons.
to this where that
The what?
character
What's that?
where that character became distilled down to kind of just sort of broad strokes and became broader and broader and broader instead of so his point was, with Leela, early on, she had a lot of agency. She
Leela
was
developed the most.
well.
Go ahead.
She's
Finish.
saying she had a lot of agency. She was like this kick-ass crew leader, all these things. And when the show came back, it seemed like they really backed off on that and then made her. They're like, we're just going to kind of groom her to be a background character who's a suitable mate for Fry.
Little bit
That
when
was
it
the
came
point
back.
he made. Right. I don't have the knowledge about the later episodes to know or have an
don't-
opinion on it. So
I
what do
don't-
you guys think?
No, I don't think we should answer this at this point. I think we need to wait longer and then talk about this.
You could throw a couple of sentences out about it. Like, do you agree with this?
I agree
fella?
with him.
Okay.
Absolutely agree.
Yeah,
with
Do you
when
agree?
you said the coming back, I was like, oh, they kinda
There's a
did
lot of
Greg.
episodes that come up that make Leela less of what she was.
Yeah.
She gets built up, and then we still don't even know that she's not an alien and a mutant. I just think that we should
Wait.
Galore.com/anime.
So Greg was raising his hand. Did your mom make you raise your hand in homeschool?
I'm not at liberty to say that.
But did you have an opinion or
Yeah,
Go
yeah.
for it.
For her answer, or Jesse,
don't?
which
Yeah,
is,
Jesse,
which is apparently a dude.
I don't know. It's
there's no I-E, it's E. It's
Doesn't matter.
J-E-S-S-E.
doesn't matter.
Yeah, it could be- yeah, so
it's
it
an
could be a-
androgynous name, and that's okay.
There is anime porn online, and it's at tubegalore.com.
It'll answer
exactly
all your
all
There's
underlying
also
items about-
there's also this island in the Pacific called Japan that's 90% made up of anime
You're
porn.
crazy. Get out of here.
It's just it's bonkers.
Also, there's tcfh.bandcamp.com.
We'll give you a moment to plug your shit. I mean, just hang on. We're getting
Well,
there.
I hope.
Yeah,
I might forget.
So, for
You get
me,
it- you get to plug right after we give you your 10% off Bed Bath & Beyond
yeah,
card.
I
10% off MeUndies.com. Just go there, type in
Whoa.
Slurmcast. You'll get 0%. Nobody's using it, but it's 0 to 1,000.
What is it? Untucked untucked shirts or whatever. What is Mark Maron?
I don't know. There's,
Shirts.
You mean the shirt thing? I haven't listened to.
I'm trying to get us an endorsement with sheath underwear. But to get back to the
Blue
Jesse
apron?
question.
Blue apron? Is that what you're thinking of?
With the Jesse
No, he's got
question.
the cool shirt one. Well, I can't remember what it was.
Yes.
With the question about the Flandersization of Leela, I don't know what happens later. I feel at this point in the arc of the show, it's actually been a lot of character and world building where they're making the characters way more fleshed out than you usually get on normal cartoons. So if that happens, and it sounds like it does, it's probably going to be kind of a bummer.
Well, we'll see what happens. I feel like the last couple seasons of this show might be a little bit of a bummer for you guys, and then I have to just defend him.
Okay.
So we'll see.
We'll
see what happens.
take it as it happens.
But to be honest, like, as a head in a jar, I envy the dead.
That was a great line. That was a great line that we skipped over. That was a great fucking line. I just
What's your take on this episode? Do you think it had a moral of the story, or is it just a wacky adventure?
no, I don't. It was just
Keep
it
away
was
from
just-
brain slugs?
That was just a fun episode. There's no like Leela triumphant, Bender. He learns nothing from being shitty and etc. It's just funny episode. Nothing,
Okay.
not an important one.
As far as I go, there's no lesson to be
Uh-huh.
learned. But we skipped over one of my favorite part of the entire episode is the one point when Bender beats Clear Cutter or whatever, and they're all cheering, and Hermes is trying to put the brain slug back on Fry, and Amy's just like grabbing
Oh yeah,
it
they
and,
just
like,
show it
shaking
where
her
she's
head.
like no. And then I love when it gets kicked off of his head. And Bender's like, "Oh, here you go," and he's like, "Thank you. It was cold on the ground."
So, thank you for joining us, Greg. It's clearly been an adventure.
You're very welcome.
Yeah, dude. Thank you.
I
That was a
legitimately
good-
had a good time.
Beautiful.
Yeah, fun.
Good.
I-
That's the point.
We've had
All I care about is the four of us have a good time. All these idiots out there listening to us, it's your fault for listening to this.
All four,
It's your
all
fault.
four of them.
Four.
so-
Wow, that's some lofty.
Maybe-
Sorry, I was being generous then.
Maybe when we do our live episode, we can get TCFH to perform or something.
When you say four, you mean the four of us that listen to this when it comes out and go like, "Oh, I sound sweet."
yeah.
Don't draw attention to it.
Do you have some plugs, Greg?
Yes.
What's going on? What do you got?
All right, yeah. So anyway, check this out. tcfh.bandcamp.com. That's our website. We have 2 EPs out there. We're doing that right now.
How to
You got
abandon your
you said
ghost?
you got a
as
new
well?
album
Is
coming
that
out?
Right?
Yeah, the newest one is How to Abandon Your Ghost. We're currently recording a new one.
Ooh.
It's gonna be good. It's basically all of the songs that we know.
Okay.
So you might see some Green Day covers.
Originals and covers, like a period.
Sweet.
Like
Yeah.
So you guys are just doing like a super long,
Like-
here's everything we could possibly play.
Does
If
it
we were
just
gonna
keep
do,
getting
like, a-
longer if you learn something else
How
in the
many
interim?
friends do you know they came out with a 39-track album?
Kill the Hippies. That's the only band. They got that one with like
All.
the 40
I
Those
don't
come out
like
with
you.
friends that we. I'm sorry, it came to mind. They got this really good collection of like all their
Better
songs.
learn one more.
Like a bunch
How many
of.
songs is that?
It's like 40 or something or whatever.
All right.
speaking of
Sorry.
which, I can't
Anyway,
wait
we're
till-
doing
They're- I love 'em.
41
They're the best.
songs. It's going to be great.
I'm not promoting Kill the Hippies. We're promoting
real,
TCFH.
real quick. We were talking about like all of the free use stuff, and I can't wait till like Black Hole Sun becomes a free use song, and then it's just
You mean
Right.
like 1,000 hours
Get
ago?
out.
No. You got to finish plugging, and then you can hate Soundgarden. I love Soundgarden, but go ahead.
Can you do like the sound effect where like I throw my headphones on like the table and you guys record that and like I don't care anymore?
It should be gunshot sound effects.
I don't
of
know
you
if
just
those
shooting
headphones
at
would be
all of
able to
us,
handle
like-
it, even if we did it fake.
Pete, I'm not going to throw your headphones.
Pete, I wanted to throw these headphones in your face since the first
know.
episode.
I know.
continue
so
continue
got
promoting.
the-
Anyway, no, tcfh.bandcamp.com.
TCFH@bandcamp.com.
.bandcamp. Don't do at Bandcamp.
damn
Like,
it.
That's where you get like that weird like BBC porn. Like you don't want.
Oh, wait, say it again, because I missed it. Say it one more time. slowly.
It's all "Are you being served in Faulty Towers" themed.
T.
I didn't even think of that, but that's
Oh, that's the hardest I've seen Tom laugh in like months.
And it's a reference.
And
None of our listeners are gonna get it.
Every single
If
one
you're
of our
listening
listeners
to
is
a
going to get it.
Futurama podcast, you've seen Faulty
All
Towers.
4 of those people are not
Yeah.
going to get it. It's fine. Anyway, TCFH.
JCPenney.com. Is that what your band's
Galore.com.
It's Macy's.com // Sears. It's going to be amazing. TCFH.bandcamp.com.
Okay.
I don't care
Bandcamp.com.
anymore
Okay.
about any of the things that we're talking about. I really have to pee and smoke a cigarette.
Me too.
All right, so we have an email address that you can reach out to us at slurmcastpod@gmail.com. You can find us on Facebook. We're on Twitter at slurmcastpod, Instagram at slurmcastpod. We have a phone number.
216.
438 whatever. So TCFH Facebook too, or Thundercougarfalconhawk?
Yes, it's everything's the same.
Twitter. Whatever.
Why would a band have a Twitter? No, we don't have a Twitter.
They're not a
Some bands
podcast.
do. They don't. That's true.
Yeah,
Right.
why
So-
would I want to have a Twitter?
It
Phone
will all be
number.
posted when this episode comes
Yeah,
out.
we'll send the stuff. out.
You can call or
Anyways,
text us at
You'll figure it
216
out.
216
438-1077 and slurmcast.com. You can find everything you need about Slurmcast.
And on this week's episode notes, probably a link to the Huffington Post article on TCFH and a link to their Bandcamp page.
And the link to the Huffington Post article that Richard is
And a lot of porn. So
Hey, thanks for listening, everybody. We'll talk to you next time.
don't forget to neuter and spay your pets.
I already stopped the recording.